I want to give a little disclaimer before I talk about Jim Sterling, because due to this person's topic, we have to talk about politics. I hate politics. I despise people that ponder over it like a bunch of babies, but unfortunately, I have no choice but to call out a particular someone for spreading hate towards a person that doesn't deserve it. And as much as I don't like Five Nights at Freddy's, Scott Cawthon is not in a position to be ratioed or hated on for his actions. Actions that happened 5 months ago. For those of you that don't know about the dead drama, which shouldn't have been brought back up in the first place, Jim, basically what happened is that Scott Cawthon has been exposed for donating to the Republican Party, which is mostly comprised of anti-LGBTQ views. So, like the army of drones that Twitter is, they got upset about it and called out Scott. And one of those people happens to be Jim Sterling. Now, I understand that Republicans may have anti-LGBTQ views, but you have to realize that this is not the main reason why Scott donated to this party. He did not donate to the Republicans because they are anti-LGBTQ. He donated to them because of their other beliefs. For example, he donated to Donald Trump because he looked to him as a man that could improve America's economy. Now, not only is it completely retarded for these people to call out Scott for donating to the Republicans because of anti-LGBTQ beliefs, but it's also biased, because you have to realize that the Democrats are most likely no different. And one of the people that Scott Cawthon donated to was also a Democrat, Tulsi Gabbard. For those of you that don't know, Tulsi Gabbard has had a history of anti-LGBTQ practices. So once you take that into consideration, why the fuck are these people being biased about Scott donating to Republicans? Also, not to mention the fact that the LGBTQ community are a bunch of fucking hypocrites, because that said community also has several of its own members that are Trump supporters. I mean, the irony couldn't be stronger. Here's another thing you have to understand. Scott Cawthon not only was ratioed by these people, he was also sent a bunch of death threats to the point where at the time, his 6 weeks pregnant wife was scared of what would happen to her and her baby. And this is all because he donated to a party that you people don't like. So to all of you that called out Scott for doing something he felt was right, as well as send him death threats, and then after you get criticized, you call us transphobic or homophobic, I just want to let you know, you're absolute scum and I fucking hate you. Because the moment after you've gone after this poor man and then call us transphobic or homophobic for defending his actions, even though him and his wife had their lives threatened, you guys are the biggest contradictions to ever walk on this earth. But whatever, what do I know? You shouldn't take me seriously because I must be homophobic for criticizing the community, you know? That's just Twitter logic. Now, let's finally get to the point. Jim Sterling is pathetic as fuck. Because apparently, from the looks of it, this man just can't keep his mouth shut about dead drama. His first video on Scott Cawthon was published in June, and his response to the backlash took an ungodly 5 months. This should prove to you that Jim Sterling is pondering into dead drama, and is obviously still fear-mongering over the fact that Scott Cawthon donated to the Republican Party, which once again is hypocritical, because Trump has LGBTQ supporters. Oh, and the cherry on top, this motherfucker conveniently left out the one Democrat candidate that Scott donated to, the aforementioned Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, it's almost as if Jim Sterling is cherry-picking Scott's response to the backlash, because if they did bring up the Democrat, then it would go against their argument. Kind of manipulative of you, don't you think, Jim? Now, not only is Jim Sterling bashing on Scott Cawthon for donating to the Republicans, but Jim Sterling, for some ungodly reason, decided that it would be a good idea to slander Christianity. I know that I myself am an atheist, but if it takes an atheist to realize that you're slandering a religion, you should know very damn well that you're doing something wrong. In Jim Sterling's first video on Scott Cawthon, they would associate Christianity as a whole to Protestants such as the KKK, as well as mock Scott Cawthon for having Christian beliefs. You want to know why Jim Sterling calling out Scott for his Christian beliefs is hypocritical? Because according to Jim Sterling themselves, they have supported Scott since his RPG game, which is a Christian game, mind you. How incredibly ironic that they support Scott ever since his Christian RPG game, and then after that, take a complete 180 as soon as he donates to a party that they don't like. That just comes off as extremely fucking petty. Hey Jim, remember when you said that Scott Cawthon was an inspiration for indie game developers? I guess that doesn't matter now because you're crying your eyes out over the fact that Scott made a choice that you and your army of drones on Twitter did not like. Now the last thing that I want to cover about Jim Sterling is how they are pro-transitioning for children, which is absolutely disgusting, because forcing your child to change their gender outside of what they're born as is literally child abuse, because you're basically wanting your child to change their gender regardless of the consequences that may come. Not according to Jim Sterling though. Fucking fantastic. So now that we all got that shit out of the way, we are going to be looking at their response video from recently, and let me tell you guys, this is going to be one hell of a ride. Of mental gymnastics, that is. So without further ado, let's see what nonsense that this maniac has to say. Just seeing that intro every time just makes me want to cut myself.
It is often said that there are few more easily offended than those who complain about other people being easily offended.
Starting the video off strong with contradicting yourself due to the fact that you made this video because of the backlash, which is mostly you responding to transphobic or homophobic comments and not responding to actual criticisms. But we'll get to that later.
And it's often said because it's true, to the point of damn near self-parody.
I mean, dude, if anything, the self-parody that you're referring to is the downfall of your channel.
Take, for example, Five Nights at Freddy's fans, or at least people who decided they were Five Nights at Freddy's fans the moment it turned out its creator was a little bit right-wing.
And all because he donated to a party that you don't like, you decided to slander his religion, cherry-pick his donations in order to disregard the Democratic candidate he donated to, and accuse him of being homophobic and transphobic, even though that is literally the opposite of true. Also, the fact that you're dismissing criticisms around your video by assuming that the people that criticize you are not real FNAF fans is incredibly moronic and petty. You are the one that decided to criticize Scott harshly for a choice he made that he thought was right. Seriously, Jim. Get your shit together and realize that your video was full of bullshit in regards to Scott.
These are the people who will tell you it's just an opinion, get over it, stop being so triggered, Snowflake. Well, you dare share an opinion of your own and it doesn't gel with theirs. And well, let's just say that this week a lot of masks popped off of a lot of hideous faces.
Oh, you want to talk about hideous? Your newest form of content, your attire, and the fact that you have pronouns in your bio.
Check if he has pronouns.
He's also got a Facebook.
Boomer.
They do!
Yeah, this explains a lot.
Yep.
Ever since he was criticised for donating to anti-LGBTQ+ politicians, including the likes of Mitch McConnell, Scott Cawthon has found no shortage of defenders among the so-called hardcore gaming community. In fact, some tie Cawthon's funding of bigotry so intrinsically to the gamer identity that when I published my own video criticising Cawthon, a common response from his defence force was that I, and I quote, attacked gamers. Considering the video's actual content attacked homophobic and transphobic policies, it does seem a little like the gamers TM are telling on themselves with that one. Huh.
Once again, you are cherry-picking people's criticisms towards you and don't actually show evidence that that was the case. And even with that being said, the fact that you're addressing how you attacked gamers is a quote that you took from The Quartering. So as far as I'm concerned, he's the only one that said you were attacking gamers. And here's the thing, he's not wrong. Because you literally made a video called Cyclical Gamer Discourse, where you essentially attacked people for criticizing games journalists for not being good at the games they cover. I'm gonna have to ask you to
keep that same energy.
Anyway, while I might be hated by gamers, I am nowhere near despised to the same degree Kotaku is, a website that manages to make angry little gamer kids cry with the slightest, most innocuous of coverage. Something about heads and living in them rent-free. In fact, I mentioned the phenomenon of Kotaku outrage in a recent video, and this past week, as Cawthon's malingering simps buzzed like the drones they are,
ironic,
my theory that Kotaku triggers hilarious rage over absolutely nothing was further confirmed. Basically, there's a new Five Nights at Freddy's game not spearheaded by a man who'd rather quit game development than stop funding politicians that pander to hate groups, and Kotaku's reporting of it made people mad. Again. LOL. The Kotaku report on this new game said, wow, turns out these games look way better when not made by some weird Christian dude. That's it. Bit cheeky. but pretty innocuous and honestly kind, considering the spiteful and bigoted politics Cawthon regularly donates large sums of money to.
You do realize that Security Breach is not made by Scott Cawthon himself, right? It's a fan-made project that is inspired by his work. Also, once again, there's Jim cherry-picking Scott's donations to the Republicans even though he also donated to a Democrat because he doesn't want to kill his own argument. Also, the fact that you use the likes of Kotaku to further prove your point is fucking hilarious. Could you imagine being so fucking retarded to the point where you use an incredibly shitty take from Kotaku in order to further prove your point?
But Kotaku gonna Kotaku, and it didn't take much to whip hardcore gamer Twitter into a wild frenzy. Writer Eric Kane kicked off proceedings, responding to the statement with, "This is a very childish take, Kotaku." Personally, I disagreed. I publicly disagreed, and in doing so, I made things kinda worse. Well, at least for myself.
I don't think anyone watching this video is at all surprised that you don't agree with Eric Kane. Then again, why should we expect any form of sanity from someone that sucks off Kotaku and has they/them in their Twitter bio? The point that Eric Kane was trying to make is that you people lack self-awareness. Let me ask you something, Jim. What's wrong with Scott being a Christian? Actually, no. A better question would be, why did your dumb fruitcake ass support Scott for several years only to then turn the tables when he donated to a group that you don't like? If it's so okay to have beliefs like you say in the end of your first video on Scott Cawthon, why are you slandering his religion and accusing him of things that he is not? I dare you to respond to that. Because if you don't, then you've just proven my point that you're a massive fucking hypocrite.
The response I received from Scott Cawthon's fan base, or at least bigots pretending they like him and his not very good games,
"That one didn't age quite so well."
Well, that's rich coming from you, Jim, because you claim to have supported Scott since his Christian RPG game, and with a little bit of that spicy self-entitlement, you seem to think that you're one of the core people that drove the creation of Five Nights at Freddy's. Now you're saying that his games are not so good? I'm gonna have to once again ask you to
Keep that same energy.
pretty much confirmed what anyone with a brain cell knew. Cawthon's Christian fundamentalism and support of prejudice has attracted the absolute worst scumbags who paint a grim but telling picture of the kind of person who thinks Kotaku being a bit childish is worse than donating to treasonous Republicans who have become more and more influenced by the policies of QAnon. So, like with Kotaku's article, I'd say my response was pretty harmless and very restrained.
You guys are about to see why this is not the case because, you know, fruitcakes don't know what the definitions of harmless and restrained are.
Responding to the charge of childishness, I replied with, "Nah, Cawthon is a Christian fundamentalist who donated to right-wing anti-LGBTQ+ politicians. He is weird, and he is Christian, not really childish to tell the truth." Of course, many people have conflated my saying weird and Christian as if I was saying both of those are intrinsically linked, but no, I was just laying out the facts.
You know, when I think of someone that likes to lay out the facts, I totally think of a fruitcake that slanders a person's religion all because they supported a group that doesn't benefit you and your entitled community. If you're really going to go that route in response to someone calling out Kotaku for being childish, I think it's only fair if you let me do so too. Jim Sterling is a drag queen who likes to strawman people's morals and make themselves look like they're in the right. I know I've been calling you names like fruitcake, but hey, like you said, it ain't childish to tell the truth.
Anyway, it didn't take long whatsoever for the hate to come pouring in. Brace yourself and enjoy the majority attitude that my take was inundated with.
Oh no, did someone call you a man? Did they not check your pronouns? Did someone burn your flag? In all seriousness though, this is the part where Jim Sterling strawmans all of the hate that he got, and doesn't actually show the real tweets, so this could potentially mean that Jim Sterling made these up and is trying to twist the narrative that every single person that criticized them is a transphobe. Wow, it's almost as if Jim Sterling is once again being a manipulative fearmonger. But whatever, let's see what this fruitcake got offended by.
How's your YouTube numbers, dude? Oh, sorry, did I misgendered you? Well, I don't fucking care. How's your wife's boyfriend? Well, my YouTube numbers suck since I came out as trans.
No. Your subscriber count has not been going down because of you being trans. Wait, I thought you were non-binary. Your subscriber count has been declining since 2019, which was way before you became a trans person. And the real reason why you're losing subscribers is because of the changes you've made to your content. You're attacking your own fan base, you're not appealing to the gamers that have watched your channel before, and you delve into the rabbit hole that is politics. None of this has to do with the fact that you came out as trans.
Yes, you did misgender me.
If you don't like it when someone misgenders you on the internet, then get the fuck off the internet.
My wife's boyfriend is doing pretty well, last I heard, and I haven't stopped laughing at your I don't fucking care, as if misgendering a trans person is some badass act of rebellion by a renegade who plays by no rules. Ooh, you're fucking fearless, mate. Misgendering someone on the internet? Not only original, but so fucking sexy.
You know, if I could convert this fruitcake's massive scale of retardation into a weapon, I could conquer the world.
Nothing says I'm not weird by pretending to be woman. No wonder your wife left you, Jim. Some comments seem wildly obsessed with my ex-wife, who I split with in 2018 and have since been happy in a completely different relationship.
Okay, you can pretty much tell where this whole point is going. They're just showing comments which, again, could be entirely made up considering the fact that these are not actual screenshots of the comments or tweets. So, yeah, we're just gonna skip this part.
Naturally, these Scotty simps believe they have stumbled upon the ultimate insult.
Oh, is that why you made a response to backlash after 5 ungodly months? Because you get misgendered on the internet? How about grow some thick skin? Or do us a favor and get off the internet.
One really recurring response has been to post photographs of me since my transition and using that to demonstrate I am weirder than Scott Cawthon, that it's the pot calling the kettle black, as so many of them like to say. This has naturally inspired plenty of that laughter and that mockery in its own right, as those going to bat for Cawthon have pretty much taken their masks off and exposed the whole thing as lesser love for the man and more a hatred of queer people, which, you know, fill your boots, I suppose. But hey, you're not doing Cawthon or the gaming community any favours. You're just making you and your peers look like dickheads.
Wow, Jim, your self-awareness is non-existent. Have you ever considered the fact that your logic can easily be applied to the people attacking Scott Cawthon, including yourself? I mean, bro, the deflection is real.
You can call that weird if you like, but to say it's at all comparable to giving money to Republican politicians who draft and support bills that oppose gay marriage and trans people's rights to live hassle-free lives is blatantly fucking ridiculous.
And here's Jim Sterling being a fearmonger again, disregarding the fact that Scott Cawthon donated to a Democrat as well. Also, your claim on Scott Cawthon being transphobic aged like milk, considering the fact that Scott Cawthon donated $5,000 to the Trevor Project.
Frankly, I've never denied I was weird. It's a fact. Just the other week, I appeared in a video speaking through a bright pink bull gag because I took offence to being called normal. It doesn't make me a hypocrite for agreeing with Kotaku that Scott Cawthon, whose career I thanklessly helped launch, is weird. He made Chipper & Sons Lumber Company and thought it was cute. That's weird.
Yep, and now we have Jim Sterling also being a hypocrite because, hello, he supported Scott Cawthon ever since his Christian RPG game, and earlier he said his games are not so good. Like, Jesus Christ, Jim, can you please
Keep that same energy.
That's not the best flavour of irony, however. No, the best example isn't even born out of prejudice, but out of a complete lack of self-awareness.
ironic?
Ever since Cawthon's donations were first criticised, the most popular response from his stands has been to say it's just his opinion. That's all. Just an opinion. And opinions are completely harmless, something everybody has a right to. After all, as one not at all dramatic response claimed, you guys are the reason why society will collapse in on itself because of childish fighting for having different opinions. Okay. If that's so true, though, why are all these people so fucking mad over my opinion? Why are they crying so hard? Why are they so unable to find the words for their frothing hatred that their replies are borderline incomprehensible at times? Why is it okay to have an opinion if that opinion is queerphobic, but not okay when it's in defense of queer people? I think we all know the answer to that one, but to lay it out plain, there is a collective of hardcore gamers out there who will simp for absolutely anything, provided it's the scummiest thing imaginable. You can't be so angry, so full of hatred over somebody's opinion, and then go on to say opinions shouldn't be criticised. It's an argument that simply doesn't make sense. If opinions aren't to be attacked, then you should, quite logically, stop attacking opinions. But these good defenders of an honest Christian boy just don't seem to get that. Or rather, they don't care. They just want to go to bat for anything that harms LGBTQ plus people, who they've made quite clear with their multiple hate campaigns over the years they want out of gaming entirely. There is no doubt this video will cost me several thousand more subscribers as I continue to lose the larger gamer audience and people who would rather listen to right-wing grifters than a queer person talking about policies and politics that affect queer people. But if doing so continues to bleed subs, so be it.
Ah, yes, if people unsubscribe to me, so be it. Please disregard my under 900,000 subscriber celebratory video where I accuse YouTube of being transphobic and complain about losing subs in a passive-aggressive way. Oh, please don't pay attention to that. No, no, no. You would catch me being a hypocrite, good sir.
If my sub count was more important to me than sharing my actual opinions, I wouldn't keep flicking matches at the gas-soaked thing.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. If it weren't for the fact that you had this video up, I would actually respect your stance here. But I can't, because you're being a hypocrite about losing subs. And if it also weren't for the fact that you slandered Christianity, I wouldn't have bothered with the fruitcake jokes. So call me transphobic or homophobic if you want. But you kinda deserve it for whining so much and straight up spreading misinformation and hatred towards Scott Cawthon. Even after 5 months of that drama being dead, your dumbass just wanted to ponder into it once more because your sensitive titties couldn't comprehend the fact that you get misgendered on the internet. Boo fucking who. Guess what, Jim? That's the internet for you. It's cruel, and it mocks you. And if you don't like it, take your wannabe Willy Wonka uniform and fuck off the internet. Oh, good fucking god. That was a pain in the ass to respond to. I hope you guys are happy, because you just made me go through 14 minutes of torture. Especially you, fucking Mario, tells me this video is perfect for me to respond to. I hope you're happy, because I'm dying inside from responding to this. Oh my god, my brain hurts. Anyways, be sure to subscribe because, you know, I need clout. Excuse me while I go sleep. Fucking hell.